Here I come on the internet talking about put that foolishness down. Stop eating that dairy so you can stop having cramps at that time of the month. Stop eating that sugar so the brain fog could go away. Here I am yelling at you on your timeline. Give your health an assignment. What you doing? Give your health an assignment. Here I am yelling on your timeline. Give God a return on his investment in you and live with radical obedience on your assignment. But you have no peace. You have no peace. So you got all your internet coaches telling you all the things you need to do. So you don't have a strategy problem. You know what you need to do. You done heard it from me and 18,000 other people. Matter of fact, some of y'all teach it yourself. You know what to do, but you don't have peace, baby. You don't have peace. And so you self-sabotage, but not because there's something wrong with you. You just don't have the capacity. Your entire body is in survival mode. You're overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed. Welcome to the Radical Obedience Podcast, where clarity meets courage and surrender becomes your strategy. I'm your host, Lisa A. Smith. Over the years, people have told me, Lisa, you're the forever voice in my head. At first, I wasn't sure how to take it, but then I realized they weren't talking about me. They were talking about the questions I leave them with, the perspective shifts they can't unhear. So if you ever needed a forever voice in your head that reminds you to choose peace over performance, purpose over pressure, and surrender over control, welcome home. If you're a leader, entrepreneur, or high achiever who looks successful on the outside but feels overwhelmed, exhausted, or unfulfilled on the inside, this podcast is for you. Each week, we'll explore how complete surrender can help you eliminate chronic stress and burnout, gain clarity, and create a life that feels as good as it looks. Because in a world obsessed with control, the greatest transformation often begins when we finally let go. Welcome to the Radical Obedience Podcast. Caller number 1. Coach Lisa, I need you to help me. I'm trying to lose weight. I know I shouldn't be eating the sugar. I know I shouldn't be eating the things I'm eating, but I constantly self-sabotage. I constantly start the journey, then some kind of way, I sabotage and I'm thrown off track and I find myself right back to the beginning trying to start over. Caller number 2, I'm really trying to lose weight. I've been trying to lose weight for a very long time and I know what I need to do. Like I need to exercise and I need to eat better, but I'm struggling. I'm struggling with going and staying the course. I'm struggling with consistently doing what I know I'm supposed to do. Caller number 3, Coach, I need you to help me. Like I do good all day during the day, but for some reason at night when I get alone and the day is winding down, I have to have my sugar. So I eat while I'm at work and I eat well while I'm, busy during the day. But when I get alone at night and my thoughts start going and I start ruminating on these different things, I begin to struggle. I begin to struggle with staying consistent with my eating habits. And then I, as the coach with these 3 different callers, say, well, tell me, if you really think about your inconsistency in your health journey, can you think of a common thread? Can you think of something that seems to consistently disrupt your healthy habits and your healthy patterns? And unequivocally, without a shadow of the doubt, they say yes. Caller number 1 says, yes. For me, I notice I get off a track when it comes to work stress. When I'm triggered by stress at work, it instantly throws me off and I get off of my routine. Caller number 2, yeah, I have actually several areas in my life that are not optimal. And I tend to avoid the issues in those areas. And when I do that, it just exacerbates the issues in those areas. And so I get frustrated and I'm kind of in my feelings. And so I notice it's hard to stay on track when that happens. Caller number 3, yeah, the reason I eat sugar and all this stuff that I'm not supposed to eat at night, even though I've done good during the day, is because I start thinking about where I am in my career and I really wanted to start my own practice right now. And because I haven't done it, I get disappointed in myself. And when I get disappointed in myself, I tend to eat my feelings. In every single one of these instances, they are trying their best to be consistent on their health journey. They are trying their best to eat like they got some sense. They are trying their best to move their body consistently. But every single time, there seems to be something that throws them off, that triggers them, and they find themselves constantly having to start over. And so they're saying things like, I know what to do, I just can't stay consistent. I keep starting over. I need more discipline. Why can't I just follow through? Maybe I just don't have what it takes. I'll start over on Monday. I'll start over at the top of the year. I'll start over at the top of the month. Every single time there's a pattern, you sabotage yourself. You emotionally eat. You struggle with follow through. And then inevitably, you blame yourself. Maybe I'm just not cut out for it. Maybe I'm just not good enough. Maybe I don't have what it takes. Lean in, boys and girls. I'm going to say something, and I'm going to hold your virtual hand when I say this. And I'm going to say it to set you free, but it's only going to set you free if you're willing to believe it. Lean in very closely. You don't have a discipline problem. You don't have a consistency problem. You have a peace problem. This is only going to free you if you are willing to believe it. You come to me and you say, Coach, I need you to help me. I'm watching your content. I'm watching your videos. I'm listening to your podcast. I was in the audience when you did that speaking engagement and I heard you. I heard what you said. I heard you break down how dangerous this stuff is for my body and my health. I heard you explain in extreme plain detail all the things that I should be doing to optimize my health. I heard you, Coach, but I can't stay consistent. I need you to help me. I know what to do. I just can't seem to do it for myself. And then you tell me, help me with my consistency muscle. Help me be more disciplined. I'm going to say this again and I'm going to free you, but it can only free you if you're willing to believe it. You don't have a discipline problem. You don't have a consistency problem. You have a peace problem. The reason you are consistently self-sabotaging, starting and stopping, starting over, starting and quitting, starting and failing, the reason you don't believe you have what it takes, the reason you're watching other people be consistent or seemingly consistent on their health goals, but it doesn't seem like you can quite nail it, is not because you weren't blessed with a consistency muscle. It's not because you weren't blessed with discipline just like other people are. You have a peace problem. Your peace is consistently disrupted, and as a result, you can't stay consistent. Let me break it down. Your entire body is in survival mode. Your entire nervous system is overactive. The stress that you mentioned at your job, the disharmony in your relationship, the things that you are unhealed from that causes you to avoid problems as opposed to addressing them head on is at the root of your inconsistency. It's not the way you are wired. You have a peace problem. Let's talk about it. Listen to me very closely. Several of you are less than optimal from the neck down. Several of you are less than optimal from the neck up. So we got a lot of work to do. Like, we know we shouldn't be drinking all that caffeine. We know we shouldn't be drinking those energy drinks. We know we shouldn't be fueling our day with empty carbohydrates. We know we shouldn't be fueling our body with ultra processed food that's been full of chemicals and food dyes and excitotoxins. We know we should be moving consistently. We know we should be taking time to be still, meditate, pray, devotional, journal. We know we should be pouring into energy into our hobbies and our interests and things that make us happy and activates our parasympathetic nervous system. We know we should be doing mindfulness practices. We know we should be doing recovery exercise like yoga and stretching. Like, I don't need to come on here and teach the science of wellness. We know more than we need to know about what it takes to rid our body of disease and inflammation, right? The issue is you're not doing it consistently, but the bigger issue is you think it's because you have a motivation problem. You think you have a consistency problem. You think you're not wired for self-discipline. You're wondering why you constantly self-sabotaging. And I'm here to tell you, You are wired for discipline. You are wired for consistency. No one is better than you. No, God didn't bless them with it and forgot to give it to you. That's not the issue. Praise be to God, that's not the issue. The issue is you have a peace problem. Your peace is so disrupted in one or multiple areas of your life that literally impulse control is turned off. Your peace is so disrupted that you don't have the capacity to be consistent. That's not the same as the ability to be consistent. Before we go any deeper, somebody put that in the comments. It's not that I don't have the ability to be consistent. I don't have the capacity to be consistent. Ability and capacity are two different things. So I'm about to change the whole game up for you on this morning during this morning's Monday morning keynote because you've been telling yourself, I just don't have what it takes to lose this weight. I just don't have what it takes to get off of this medication. I just don't have what it takes to get rid of this joint pain. I just don't have what it takes to stabilize my blood pressure, my blood sugar, my liver enzymes. I just don't have what it takes to put this autoimmune condition into remission. You can stop saying that to yourself. It's not true. But what you don't have enough of, which is very much true, is peace. Your peace is consistently disrupted, and therefore you don't have the capacity for consistency on your health journey. Somebody put it in the chat. It's not that I don't have the ability, I just don't have the capacity. Let's get into this message. Your self-sabotage has nothing to do with a lack of discipline. Now, for many of you, that's all you need to hear. You might already be free, but for others of you, you need to know why, because you've been telling yourself that story and feeding that to your subconscious mind for a long time. So here's the truth. In the beginning of our conversation today, I shared conversations from 3 different callers, right? One person said their lack of consistency was as a result, once they thought about it, was they were constantly triggered by work stress. Another caller said they were constantly triggered by avoidance. They had a lot of issues in their life that they were admittedly avoiding, right? And the reason they were avoiding those issues, they said, is because they didn't believe anything would change. They didn't have enough faith that if they did try to address the issues they were having in their life, that it will make a difference, right? And then I told you caller number 3 said the reason they constantly self-sabotage their own health journey was because when they got alone at night and started thinking about where they were in their career and their business, they were so dissatisfied that they turned to sugar to soothe themselves. And so what is the through line in all 3 of those examples? Now, I've been coaching for over 10 years. If I had to, I could sit here for an hour and just tell stories like that, right? I just gave you 3 examples today, but if I had to, I could sit here for well over an hour into the early afternoon and tell you caller after caller who says, Lisa, I think I have a consistency or a discipline issue. But as soon as I ask them to think back and observe the pattern that constantly causes them to stop and start over, they can name it. They can name a circumstance that causes that. And so I need you guys to know that you don't have a discipline issue. You have a peace problem, right? And so what happens when an area of our life is out of alignment, it typically causes us to emotionally eat if we don't have high emotional intelligence, which many of us do not, unfortunately, meaning you feel a feeling and you respond to that feeling with a behavior. Oh my God, I need some chocolate. Oh my God, I need a drink. Oh my God, I need some comfort food. Oh my God, I need to impulse shop. Oh, that is an indicator that you have low emotional intelligence. So because our EQ is low for a lot of us, right? Because we are not being more demanding about certain areas and things that we want to happen in our life, it is causing our peace to be disrupted, and it's also causing our health journey to be compromised. If that makes sense, you don't have a discipline problem, you don't have a consistency problem, you have a peace problem. You have a peace problem. It is very hard to eat right. It is very hard to do what's required to lose the weight, to get off the medications, to feel better when your peace is consistently disrupted. So let me give you a little science first, and then I'm going to tell you what needs to happen. And I have a great analogy that I think is going to make so much sense to y'all. When I give y'all this analogy, you're going to be like, say less, I got it, okay? But let me give you the science. First of all, many of us are struggling with decision fatigue. Okay. When you have an area of your life that's really causing you a lot of stress and overwhelm, it could be your career, it could be your family, okay, it can be your finances, it could be spiritual warfare, it can be misalignment. You don't feel like you're doing fulfilling and purposeful and meaningful work, right? So you kind of feel empty, right? It could be in your social life. I've had a lot of clients over the years who struggle with social connections. They're like, I want new friends. I want people to do stuff with that I enjoy, right? They've kind of outgrown their current social circle and they're yearning and fiending for a new social circle. So it could be any of one of these areas of your life where it doesn't feel content. It doesn't feel like you're at peace, right? And so what happens is in those areas, a lot of us are avoiding some decision making, mostly because we're either afraid of making the wrong decision. We don't trust our own decision making, maybe typically because how things haven't turned out the way we wanted to them in the past. And so we're afraid of making decisions. Or we're so over capacity with our daily responsibilities, we have decision fatigue. And so here's what the science tells us that when we start the day, we all start the day with a certain amount of decision making fuel. And as the day goes on, as 1 hour passes after another, we lose some of that fuel. So with every decision, it becomes harder to make the next decision. And what that means is that by the end of the day, when you're trying to decide what to eat for dinner, or whether or not you should go for that workout or that run or that walk, or whether or not you should make time to read like you said you were going to do every day, you're constantly not making the decision you prefer to make because you're out of fuel, right? And so you're so out of fuel that you're let the pieces fall where they may at this point, right? And so you're like, man, why can't I? Why can't I consistently stay on top of my game? Well, reason number one is decision fatigue. When you have an area of your life that feels so unsettled and awry, it is so hard to then be steady and consistent and disciplined in your health. And for a lot of you, that is the situation. Your career is stressing you out. Your business or your 9 to 5 is stressing you out. You're not making a decision that's going to change the situation. And so when it comes to doing daily habits that make you feel good or will keep you on track with your health, you struggle because you don't have peace in this area. In this case, your career. Same thing with your relationships. You want a social life that looks different. You're searching for an ecosystem that you feel like you belong to. You want to have certain connections and want to be with people that have a certain mindset that you can relate to, that you can build with, that you can have fun with. But you don't know how to get those new friends or make those new friends. Or maybe you tried to put yourself out there before and it didn't work out. So now you're afraid of putting yourself out there again, right? And so again, we don't have peace in this one area. So now we're experiencing loneliness. And we know loneliness is the new pandemic, right? And so now it's hard for us to eat like we got some sense because we're lonely. It's hard for us to exercise consistently because we hate our job. It's hard for us to make daily time to be alone and to meditate or to pray or to do a devotional or to journal because our marriage or our relationship is in shambles. Romantically, we don't feel at peace. You don't have a discipline problem, baby girl. You don't have a consistency problem, young man. You have a peace problem. So, how do we solve this issue? Okay. Because here's what I need you to know. When there's an area of your life that's not at peace and it's causing you stress, okay? And it's causing you to worry, it's causing you to be scared. Maybe you had a marriage or a relationship that didn't work out and you feel like you're getting older and you haven't started a family yet. Maybe you already started a family, you got kids and stuff from your last marriage, but that marriage didn't work out and you in this next season of life, like approaching retirement or post-retirement, and like you don't feel like there's any candidates out there and you're worried about being alone. Like, I don't want to be alone for the rest of my life, right? And that causes you to worry. Maybe financially, you don't feel stable and that causes you to panic, right? Maybe with your family, maybe with your parents or with your children, with your siblings, there's friction there. And so it makes you feel unbalanced because you want to have harmony and with the family members that you love. I'm telling you, with all of that going on, it makes it 10 times harder to then eat some kale instead of some French fries. It makes it 100 times harder to go for a walk or a run instead of Netflix and chill. The science says when stress hormones are high, impulse control is turned off. You don't have a discipline problem, you have a peace problem. When stress hormones are high, impulse control is turned off. When you're unhappy, unfulfilled, when you're lonely, when you're stressed out, when you feel like everything can fall apart at any moment, when you don't have any money in the emergency fund, so you can't afford for a single thing to go wrong, when you don't know whether or not this marriage is going to make it, when you don't know whether or not this friendship is going to make it, when you are constantly trying to get your family and your friends to accept you and it's just not working out, when you feel like you got to fight to be loved in your family. I don't care what the issue is. This is stuff that I've heard from all of y'all. And then here I come on the internet talking about put that foolishness down. Stop eating that dairy so you can stop having cramps at that time of the month. Stop eating that sugar so the brain fog could go away. Here I am yelling at you on your timeline. Give your health an assignment. What you doing? Give your health an assignment. Here I am yelling on your timeline. Give God a return on his investment in you and live with radical obedience on your assignment. But you have no peace. You have no peace. So you got all your internet coaches telling you all the things you need to do. So you don't have a strategy problem. You know what you need to do. You done heard it from me and 18,000 other people. Matter of fact, some of y'all teach it yourself. You know what to do. But you don't have peace, baby. You don't have peace. And so you self-sabotage, but not because there's something wrong with you. You just don't have the capacity. Your entire body is in survival mode. You're overwhelmed. You're overwhelmed. Right? And so how does this work? Because here's the truth. Here's the takeaway. And I'm going to give you an analogy that's going to make a lot of sense. Here's the ultimate takeaway. The ultimate takeaway is you say, I'm not disciplined enough. And I say, you're not demanding enough. I say you're not demanding enough. You say I'm not disciplined enough. So you come to me, Lisa, I saw your post about giving your health assignment. I saw your post about taking animal products out of my diet so that I can get those growth hormones out of my body and that'll help put this condition in remission. I came to your class where you taught about stress and you taught about how stress is killing you. I deal with chronic stress, coach. That's me, that's me, that's me. I get it. I know what to do. And I'm like, okay, well, why you not doing it? You like, well, my marriage, my kids, my job, my relationships, my parents, I'm still trying to please them. And I'm like, okay, well, you need to make a decision. You need to go have conversations with them. You're going to have to set some boundaries. And you like, but I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared I'm going to lose everybody. I'm scared things are going to fall apart. I know I don't want to be at this job and I know what I want to do instead, but I'm scared of rejection. I'm scared of failing. I'm scared that nobody's going to buy from me. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm worried. I'm worried. I'm worried. I don't know if I have what it takes. I struggle with imposter syndrome. It's too hard. What if they say no? What if I tell him why I'm unhappy in this relationship? What if he says he wants a divorce? Then I'm going to be alone and maybe it's too late for me. Maybe I should just stick with the devil I know. I hear what you're saying about money and I hear what you're saying about paying yourself and I hear what you're saying about giving back to God, but I can't afford that. Like, I just got to pay the bills. The bills is the priority. I got to keep these babies fed. I just don't have enough faith to give it to God so he can multiply it and so he can make it spill over. I just don't believe. I just struggle with believing. You don't have a discipline. You have a demand problem. It's not that you're not disciplined. It's that you're not demanding. Let me tell you something. Peace is your human right. But just like every other right we have to fight for in this country, the right to vote, the right to peacefully protest, the right to have an opinion, every other right that we have to fight for today, you have to fight just as hard for your peace. When those people are disrespecting you, you got to be more demanding. When they try and give you more work and you don't have the capacity to do the work you already have at your job, you got to be more demanding. In that marriage, when that person talks to you crazy, when they don't honor what you need to feel happy and blissful, you got to be more demanding. With them kids, you got to be, I get you want to be a good parent and you want to give them everything, but you got to be more demanding. When it comes to your family, I understand that you were modeled something and you don't want to become that. And so You're trying to tread carefully, but baby, you got to be more demanding. You don't have a discipline problem, you have a peace problem. But the reason your peace is disrupted is because you're not demanding enough. And so the reason you're inconsistent on your health journey, the reason you're inconsistent in your health with your eating, with your mindfulness, with your exercise, with your recovery, with your stretching, with your yoga, the reason you inconsistent is because your whole body, you're not at peace. And the reason you're not at peace is because you're not demanding. And the reason you're not demanding is because you lack faith. You don't think it's safe to be demanding about what you need to be happy. And as long as you continue to believe that it's unsafe to be demanding about what you need to be happy, you're going to continue to self-sabotage and be overweight and be medicated, and your numbers going to be off the chart, and the doctor going to be constantly threatening you with medications, and the condition is going to continue to flare up. What's at the root of you feeling your best self? You willing to be more demanding. Huh? Should I take a breath? You the problem, but not the problem you think. It's not you don't have consistency. You're not demanding enough. The body, I'm about to make this make sense. Y'all know I specialize in science, right? Okay, so we have been taught that the body is broken up into individual sections and parts. Okay, so in Western medicine, especially like here in the US, right? This allopathic approach to medicine. Okay. So we have been taught that the body is broken up into different sections, parts, and systems. So, for example, you have your digestive system, right? You have your endocrine system, right? You have your immune system. And then even in medicine, right? We've been taught that everything is separate. Like, oh, is that an eye problem? You need to go to the optometrist. Oh, is that a foot problem? You need to go to the podiatrist. Oh, do we suspect cancer? You need to go to an oncologist, right? Like we've been taught, and our system is designed in such a way that it would lead us to believe that everything has its own separate system, right? Oh, you got gut issues, you need to go to a gastroenterologist, right? We have been taught in Western medicine that the body and our health is separate. Oh, you're struggling with depression, you need to go to a psychologist, right? Like that's what we've been taught, that the skin is, you need to go to a dermatologist. Every doctor has a specialization. Every system in our body has a name, right? And we've been taught that all of this stuff, you go to a certain person for this one thing. Have we not? Yes, we have. But don't let the nomenclature fool you. Don't let the Western medicine system fool you that your general practitioner has to write you a script to go see an oncologist, not anesthesiologist. What's the person a rheumatologist, right? That helps when it comes to some of our autoimmune conditions and our joint pain, right? I was about to say an anesthesiologist. Child, that's the people that put you to sleep. You don't want nobody writing a script to that. Okay. So our culture has taught us that there are different systems and there are specialists for every system. And so if something's going wrong with your kidney, you need to see a nephrologist, right? Okay. But y'all remember that song back in the day, huh? The ankle bone connected to the shin bone connected to the knee bone connected to the thigh bone connected to the hip bone. Y'all remember that? Okay, cool. Well, guess what I came to tell you? Part of the reason you inconsistent in your health, and part of the reason you can't stay disciplined, and part of the reason you keep self-sabotaging is because you don't realize your career is connected to your consistency, your marriage is connected to your discipline, your relationships are connected to your self-control, your fulfillment is connected to your non-negotiables, your emotional healing is connected to your longevity. See, you thought you was really about to start a weight loss journey while you stressed out about your job. You can't, because they are interconnected. See, our culture has taught us that this has nothing to do with this. Like, oh, if it's your eyes, just go to, it's your teeth, just go see the dentist. But did you know that your gums are connected to your pancreas? Did you know that your skin is connected to your gut? Did you know that your kidneys is connected to your hair? Did you know that your liver is connected to your fingernails? It's all connected. Don't let the nomenclature fool you. Don't let the fact that they call it an orthodontist or they call it an oncologist or that they call it a surgeon or a nephrologist or a dermatologist. Don't let them make you think that that ain't connected to that. The fact that you are unfulfilled and lonely is part of the reason you can't lose weight. The fact that you are so unhappy in your romantic relationship is part of the reason you can't drink water every morning. The fact that you are unwilling to set boundaries in your personal relationship is also part of the reason why you can't get to your butt to the gym 5 days a week and actually squat like you got some sense. It's all connected. How dare you try and start a health journey and your marriage is in disarray? Good luck. Good luck. How dare you not work on the relationship between you and your parents and still gonna be out here really trying to put the high blood pressure in remission? Good luck, because guess what? The ankle bone connected to the shin bone connected to the knee bone, the knee bone connected to the thigh bone. Them bones is all connected, baby. So next time you come to one of my live Q&As, one of my classes, one of my speaking engagements, one of my programs, next time you come to my stress elimination lab, just know when you tell me what to do so I can be consistent with eating my fruits and my vegetables and my exercise and stretching and journaling and doing my morning meditation, I'm going to be like, oh, you need to finally do something about the job you've been saying you hate for 2 years. That's how you do it. You thought I was going to tell you to, set a timer. Oh, download this app. Oh, buy this. No. You thought I was going to tell you to meal prep. You don't need no meal prep. You need to be more demanding. You don't have a discipline problem. You don't even have a strategy problem. You have a peace problem. And because your peace is disrupted in your marriage, your peace is disrupted in your career, your peace is disrupted in your relationships because you haven't healed from the thing that you've been struggling with, because you haven't grieved properly from that loss that you had. Guess what? That weight ain't going nowhere. That's on you, baby. You go ahead and own that until the day you wake up and start being demanding. It's all connected. Don't let Western medicine fool you into thinking that my hormones ain't got nothing to do with my earlobes. It's all connected. I don't care that there's a specialist for earlobes. I don't care that there's a specialist for your neck. I don't care. The reason you are not becoming the person you need to be is because your peace is disrupted, because you couldn't understand how this was connected to that. It's all interconnected. So guess what? Now you got to start doing the real work, or guess what? None of this is changing. But here's what we're not about to do. Go to somebody else's masterclass. Don't come to mine asking me for another strategy on how can I continue to eat right when I'm so busy. I ain't got a strategy for you. All I'm going to tell you is where is the peace disrupted and where do you need to be more demanding? You say, I'm not disciplined enough. I say you're not demanding enough, because peace is a human right. And if your peace is currently disrupted in any area of your life, it's not their fault, it's your fault. Let me ask you something. How much is stress costing you? Is it costing you your energy, your focus, your health, your peace? See, most of us have been told to manage chronic stress, but here's the truth. Managing chronic stress isn't enough. You deserve to eliminate it at the root. That's why we created the Clarity Lab, where stress meets strategy. The Clarity Lab is a 5-day immersive stress focus group. It's an experience that's designed to help you uncover your biggest stress triggers, reframe how you respond to pressure, and build a personalized strategy for sustainable health and performance. In just 5 days, you will walk away better understanding what's at the root of your stress, what limiting beliefs have been keeping you stuck, and more important, how to start moving with confidence, control, and clarity. And the best part, you won't do it alone. You'll be guided by myself and my team of coaches alongside a powerful community on the journey to do the exact same thing. So, if you're ready to stop paying the price of stress and start living with clarity, join us inside of our next Clarity Lab. Spots are limited, but you can secure yours right now at lisaangelsmith.com/Clarity Lab. That's lisaangelsmith.com/Clarity Clarity Lab. Clarity Lab is where stress meets strategy. I'll see you in the lab. So here's the invitation, okay? Because your career is connected to your consistency. If we need to just put a little bop behind it, if we just need to put a little show tune behind it, this is what I need you to know. Stop thinking it's something wrong with you. Stop thinking those of us that lost the weight, kept it off, that seem like we eat right and do all the things. Listen, I was at shout out to a lot of y'all know my brand manager, my right hand Kiwi, right? So I was back home in Michigan this weekend because me and Kiwi had, to do some filming, right? And so we drove to do some filming, and then I dropped Kiwi back off, right? And I was like, is your mom here? I want to say hi to your mom, right? So I went into the house to say hi to her mom, and I gave her a hug, and she looked me up and down. Kiwi, tell me if I'm lying. I think Kiwi's still on here on YouTube. She looked me up and down. She said, okay, you looking good. You looking like just what you teach. She said, you looking like just what you teach. You know what I'm saying? I said, well, thank you, right? Because I look like what I teach. Why do I look like what I teach? Like, why after it's been over 10 years since I lost over 65 pounds? How have I kept it off, y'all? God ain't blessed me with some special gene that he didn't give to nobody else, right? How have I kept off all of the weight after this many years? How do I still wake up every day, drink my warm lemon water every single day, spend time with God, spend 10 plus minutes meditating every day? My life is not less chaotic than anybody else. I have inconveniences like everybody else. I have things that happen and go wrong like everybody else. But how on God's green earth and on Beyonce's internet am I still able to do the things that my body needs to stay looking good? How do I stay looking like what I teach? Explain. I'm going to tell you how. Peace. The moment there's a disruption in my spirit, guess what? What time are you available? We need to have a conversation. Huh? The moment that my peace is disrupted, I'm on a horn. You said this the other day, and this is what it came up for me, and I just wanted to share it with you. And maybe we can talk. This is me leaving a voice note for somebody, and maybe we can talk about it when you get some chance or during our next scheduled time. Hey, I know when we made this agreement about me doing this for you that this was the circumstance, but things have changed for me, and we need to restructure the terms and conditions of this arrangement. The moment my peace is threatened, guess what I become? Demanding. So here's what's happening. You have circumstances in your life that are not at peace. And as a result, it's causing your nervous system to be overactive. It's causing you to be overwhelmed. It's causing you to be sad, mad, discouraged, upset, whatever it is, resentful. And now you're having a hard time doing all the things that you need to do to feel whole, healthy, and complete. And guess what? You're going to have an even harder time the more you continue to be passive. You don't have a discipline problem. You have a demanding problem. So I'm inviting you to be more demanding. So during our stress elimination lab, this is a 5-day lab that I do for people who are dealing with chronic stress, not acute stress, chronic stress. This is long-term stress, right? That has really taken a toll on them physically and mentally. Okay. So we do this lab, and I teach them this process of eliminating chronic stress. I say we need to graduate from stress management to stress elimination when it comes to chronic stress. Acute stress is meant to be managed, chronic stress is meant to be eliminated. And so when I'm teaching people how to start eliminating chronic stress, the very first thing they have to be able to tell me is what do they want, right? So I'll give you an example. A lot of people, their stress comes from work, right? They're like, this place, if it's 9 to 5, they're like, this place is killing me. It's killing me. The people, the politics, the bureaucracy, it's killing me, right? They're taking advantage of me. It's killing me, right? And I say, okay, I'm very clear on what you don't want. Tell me what you do want. Tell me what you want instead. And they start struggling because what? They can't make a decision. Because in order to eliminate chronic stress in any area of your life, you have to be able to articulate what you do want so that I, as your coach, can help you map a blueprint and a path to getting there. But that's hard for a lot of people because the things that they want, they don't feel like it's safe to ask for it. They not even willing to be demanding with the universe where there is nothing but infinite possibilities. Ain't that crazy? We so scared. We operate with so much limitation and lack that we not even willing to verbally articulate what we want instead because we're putting limitations on God. And so guess what happens? We wake up Monday morning, we wake up Tuesday morning, we wake up Wednesday morning in the same toxic, stressful cycle because we think in so much lack and we're not willing to be demanding about what we want because we think it's unsafe to be. If I tell them how I really feel, if I tell them how they hurt me, if I tell them this is not a blissful relationship for me, if I go to my job and say, we got to change some things, if I start creating an exit strategy to leave the job, if I start creating an enter strategy to create the business, it's not safe to do. Maybe I don't have what it takes. Maybe I'm going to fail. Maybe it won't work out. So we're not being demanding because we operate with so much fear because we haven't embodied the concept of radical obedience. Anytime you're radically obedient to what God is calling you to do, have the conversation, start the business, quit the job, start the family, leave the marriage, enter the marriage, whatever it is. Anytime we are radically obedient to what God is telling us to do, there is nothing but favor waiting on the other side of it. He told you to tithe. He told you to give that money back. He told you to bless them people. But you think and lack so much that you can't even be obedient to what God is asking you to do. As a result, you're compromising your own favor. Why? Because you want to be in so much control. You want to know how it's going to turn out. You're so afraid that you can't be demanding. So guess what? You can't be consistent. Guess what? You self-sabotage. So here's the thing. In the stress elimination lab, when I'm teaching people how to eliminate chronic stress, so first I tell them you got to decide on what you do want so I can help you map out a blueprint on how to get there. But then we got to make decisions, okay? You say the job is my source of stress, Lisa. I say, well, what do you want instead? You say, I actually want to start my own business coaching people with financial literacy. I say, okay, you're going to have to make a decision. Are you going to do that alongside a 9 to 5, or do you want to solely have the business? You say, well, ideally, I want to be a full-time entrepreneur. I don't want to have a 9 to 5 and my own business. I say, okay, we got to make a decision. We got to make a decision then. You're going to leave the job. When? How? You got to make decisions. And then what happens? You get scared. And then what happens? You get so scared that you decide to stay in the toxic situation that's keeping you stuck. There's a different level of intent that's required to eliminate chronic stress. So when I'm teaching this process, y'all, when I listen to y'all stories and I listen to your fear bubbling up, it lets me know that sometimes, guys, our faith is so low, our belief that we really live in an infinite universe with infinite possibilities. Everything we see with our eyes open is limitation. We think the only possible outcomes that we can think of are the only possible outcomes that exist. Does that make sense? We think the only possible ways that this could go is the only ways that it can go. Because we only can think of 5 ways that this can turn out, we think there's only 5 options. We are so limited. We are so limited in our peripheral that we don't even entertain that there is a way that this could go that we never could have thought of. And because we don't think that broad, and because our faith doesn't stretch that far, we decide to stay. Here's the invitation. If this is you, if you are constantly self-sabotaging because you have no peace in certain areas of your life, and the reason you have no peace is because you're not demanding, and the reason you're not demanding is because you think in lack and limitation. Here's the invitation. Get out of God's business. You too nosy. That's what this boils down to. Anytime your coach is telling you, okay, we need to create an exit strategy from the job because you said it's causing you overwhelm and burnout and disrupting your peace. And I say, you said you wanted to start your own business instead. Okay, let's create a strategy for that. We need to do this to think about leaving the job. We need to do this to think about starting the business, right? And you start saying, well, what if it fails? What if they don't buy? What if I'm not good? What if it's get out of God's business? Anytime you're worrying, that means you're living in the future. When you choose to consistently live in the future, is you being nosy. Get out of God's business. You too nosy. That's our problem. We always want some tea. We always trying to tune in to see what's about to happen. What if you just focused on the problem at hand today? The problem at hand today is that you overweight and we can't afford to continue to be. The problem at hand today is that autoimmune condition keep flaring up and you can't afford for it to do so. The problem at hand today is that blood pressure and that blood sugar keep rising. And that's shortening your life. The problem at hand today is these constant cycles of depression and anxiety is killing you slowly. The problem at hand today is your insecurities are so high that you can't even make new, happy, and forge happy relationships. So let's just deal with that today. You mean to tell me you're willing to continue to deal with that because your faith is so low and you trying to be in God's business so much that if you feel like you can't see or determine how it's going to turn out, you're not going to take no steps at all. So I'm just going to stay overweight and stressed out and medicated and depressed. That's what you're telling me? Get out of God's business. You living in the future so much, trying to figure out what's the possibilities, what's all the options, how can I prepare for things to go wrong? How can I prepare for things to go right? Because some of y'all ain't worried about it failing. You're worried about it succeeding. Whatever it is, get out of God's business. You so nosy. Oh, you so nosy. That's our problem. What if you just dealt with today and stop trying to figure out all the possible ways it's going? Stop trying to figure out what they going to say when you say this and then you say that back and then they say this. That's your problem. You keep going over the conversation in your head. The conversation ain't never left your head because you in God's business. 2 years later, you still miserable in this friendship. You still miserable in this relationship. You and your parents' relationship still ain't healed because you in a conversation in your head trying to figure out what they gonna say when you say that, and then they say that, and then they do that, and then y'all gonna have a silent treatment, and then it's gonna happen. Get out of God's business. It ain't no telling how it's gonna go this time. All I know is you too nosy, and that's why you can't reach your health goals. Stop being so nosy. Get out of God's business. All we know today is you can't take another year of this. Whatever your this is, wherever the disharmony is in your life, get out of God's business. And let me tell you something. You ain't even got to listen to me. But here's what you do need to do. You ain't got to do a single suggestion I'm making today. You ain't even got to do that. But what you do got to stop doing is complaining about it. You got two options. You either be more demanding about your peace or stop complaining. Don't go into nobody else's class. Don't come into nobody else's Q&A. Don't slide into nobody's email or DMs. It's talking about, can you help me? I'm struggling with discipline, inconsistency. I'm struggling with self-sabotage. Don't ask for another strategy. Stop complaining. Just stay the same quietly. There's some people who are so unwilling to be demanding about their peace that they're willing to stay sick and broken. That's cool, long as they stay quiet. Don't disrupt my peace with your unwillingness. That's all I'm saying. Just move out the way and let me help the people who are willing to take a chance on God. Just move out the way. Move out the way. Stop disrupting our regularly scheduled programming for you to ask for another strategy that you ain't going to use anyway because you so scared. Don't ask me for another strategy. Don't ask me what I eat for breakfast on a plant-based diet. I ain't got no actions for it. Don't ask me how I stay consistent when I travel because you ain't going to do it anyway. You're not going to do it anyway. If you ain't ready to be demanding about peace. When you ask me, Lisa, you travel so much for speaking and teaching and coaching. How do you stay on track when you on the road? And I tell you, before I go to that engagement, I demand that them people make room for my diet. If you're not willing to do what I do, don't ask me no other questions because I'm the coach that's going to tell you how to be more demanding. You want to do something that's not going to require you to speak up for yourself. You want to do something that's not going to require you to quit the circumstance that's killing you. You want to do something that's going to allow you to stay in the circumstance that's killing you, but also get the peace that you feeling. I ain't got no suggestions for that. So just leave me alone. Just leave me. Go ask somebody else who got time today. Maybe ask somebody who only been in the game a year or two. I've been in the game 11 years this year. I'm sick of it. Next time you come to my stress elimination lab and you ask me, what do I need to do to lose the weight? Because only 2 pounds done came off and the scale done start moving, and I tell you go have that conversation with your husband that you've been avoiding and tell him why you're not happy, and you tell me okay, and then you come back next year and you ain't did a thing. Stop asking me. I done told you the hip bone is connected to the shin bone, and the shin bone is connected to your marriage. Is the reason you can't eat right. So if you're not willing to be demanding in the marriage, if you're not willing to be demanding on the job, if you're not willing to be demanding in your friendships, if you're not willing to go in that therapist's office and heal from the thing you've been grieving over, don't ask me for another strategy. That's the strategy. There is no peace in that area. And then as long as there is no peace, there's going to be no consistency on your health journey. Don't ask me nothing. Go ask somebody else who not sick and tired yet. Because you all in God's business trying to figure out how it's going to turn out. Well, if I do that, but what if he come back and say he want a separation? Now we got some data to work with. You so scared. What if I try and negotiate my salary, but they tell me no? They didn't stop making jobs when they made that one. You so unhappy where you are. Don't tell me again how you hate where you live and you want to be by the water, but you so afraid to move because I don't know nobody in that new city. I'm telling you how to get your peace back. Start shopping the real estate in that city by the water. You've been wanting to live by the water for years, but then you get mad at me. I tried to go plant-based, it ain't work. Well, did you try and move out that city you told me you hated? I tried to go plant-based, but it didn't work. Well, did you get out of that relationship that was killing you slowly? I tried to go plant-based, but it didn't work. Well, did you get out of that job that you say was causing you to be stressed out and burnt out? Don't ask me nothing else. I'm sick of it. Move out the way for the people who's ready to come get this help. Move out the way for the people who's raising their hand and saying, I'm willing to be demanding. Coach me. Coach me. Coach me. You don't have a discipline problem. You have a demanding problem. You're not demanding enough. Your peace is your priority. The moment you make your peace your priority, it's the moment the weight to come off. The moment you make your peace your priority, is the moment you get over your sugar addiction. I didn't keep this weight off and give up refined sugar because I'm doper than somebody else. Let me tell y'all something. You think I done kept this weight off? 65 pounds, then stayed away from refined sugar, then stayed a whole food, plant-based vegan for years because I'm doper than somebody? No, I demand my peace. I was engaged to be married. I felt like it wasn't my forever person. Instead of being scared, guess what? I told him it wasn't going to work out and I returned the ring. I was demanding about my peace. Guess what? I was at a 9-to-5 working as a social worker in foster care. The caseloads was off the hook. I had to go to court on a regular basis. The biological family that wanted their kids back was hostile. Guess what I did? Quit. I created an exit strategy. I demanded my peace. If you want to follow my protocol to get the results I got, just know you ain't got to be me. You ain't got to be Lisa. I wasn't blessed with some gene that God didn't give to nobody else. I just demanded my peace. So when I tell you, oh, well, you got to make a decision. You got to decide on what you want. You're going to have conversations that make you uncomfortable. You're going to have to negotiate with the next job that hires you instead of taking the first offer they make. But that's scary. What if I lose an opportunity? What if they say no? I just don't want to lose. Well, if you're not willing to risk losing for the chance at winning, I'm not the coach for you. Unfollow me, block me, don't call, and don't tell nobody you know me either. Because I don't produce losers or failures. So don't tell nobody you know me. You feel me? Because I'm not playing with y'all. I'm so sick of us dying prematurely from stuff that we didn't have to die from just because we weren't willing to demand our peace. You don't have a discipline problem. You're just not demanding enough. Okay, so what's the takeaway from today, Coach Lisa? Because I'm in these streets telling people I'm not consistent with my eating and my exercise, right? When the truth is I'm miserable in my job, in my marriage, in my healing, in my relationships, with my kids, with my friends, all that. So now that you know that it's not a consistency or discipline problem, it's a peace problem, now we have to do what? Go do the work to restore the peace. That's tough for a lot of you. You got to now do the work to restore your peace. Okay, so listen, guys, we just got to the root of why you don't eat right. We just got to the root of why you don't exercise. We just got to the root of your mindfulness practice that's inconsistent. We just got to the root of it. It's your relationship. It's your ministry. It's your career. So wherever the peace is disrupted, right? That is where we start because we thought that our culture and Western medicine told us that everything was disconnected. Like, no. If you have a gum problem, if you got a toothache, you go see a dentist. Not realizing that the oral health is connected to the kidney health. Not realizing that the relationship is connected to the eating habits. Not realizing that the career is connected to the consistency. It's all interconnected. Don't let them fool you into thinking these things are unrelated. I used to have a client, her name was Kim. She was a dentist. And I remember her telling me one time, she was like, Lisa, when I sit down with patients and I ask them to open wide and I'm looking in their mouth, I got the light and a little mirror and I'm looking in their mouth. She's like, I can tell when they got diabetes just by looking in their mouth, looking at the health of their gums. Everything is connected. So what makes you think that the stress that you feel in your body every day when you go into that job is not connected to the rest of your health? Everything is connected. And so that's why you don't have a discipline problem. Shaquanda, thank you for your honesty. She says, my co-parenting dynamic. That's where you do the work. Listen, if you need help with this, I need all of y'all to be in the stress elimination lab where I teach you how to eliminate chronic stress. And I take the things I've been teaching you this morning and we put action behind it. Here is your opportunity. There is no cap. Last time, man, the testimonials were so crazy. I don't know if Leah's still on. Leah took the last lab. Terry took the last lab. There's magic that happens when you have someone who can see your blind spots. Some of you guys have blind spots and it's killing you. And you also have limiting beliefs. I did a Q&A and somebody raised their hand and they said, I really struggle with believing I'm good enough. I really struggle with believing I have what it takes to accomplish my goals, right? And so some of you guys need a coach to help you unpack that because you believe it and you try not to believe it, but you don't have the tools to excavate it. So there's a process that we do during our stress elimination lab called excavation, okay? And so sometimes you just need somebody to see your blind spots and ask you the right questions. Let me tell you what a great coach does. A great coach asks the right questions. A lot of times when people are trying to become coaches, they think their primary job is to answer questions. That's a teacher. Okay. Teaching is answering questions. Coaching is asking questions. And so a great coach is going to ask the right questions to excavate the limiting beliefs that you have. All right. So I invite you to take the stress elimination lab with us. Let me teach you how to stop managing chronic stress and how to eliminate it. Okay. Let's get into some cues before I hop off today. I want to answer some questions because today was really heavy. Please let me know because we keep labeling ourselves as inconsistent and a lack of discipline, but it's not because of the way we're wired. It's because we don't have peace somewhere in our lives. And once we restore that peace, we'll be able to eat like we got some sense. So I hope I broke that down in a way that you can understand today. Let's see. Hello, Lisa. One of my stressors is about to be eliminated via a new job. Congratulations with better pay, which then equals stability. Congratulations. God bless your new job. Amen. However, my son's father is a struggle. He disrupts the peace because I'm so caught up in the past and can't let go. Oh, okay. He disrupts your peace because I'm so caught up in the past and I can't let go. Why can't you let go of the past? Is this an issue of forgiveness where some damage was done and we need to come to peace with the damage that's done, but you're struggling with that? Let me know if that's what it is, right? When you say I'm so caught up in the past. Johnny says my 2-year-old is currently with him and I can't block him out. Then I will be denying myself access to, you don't want to deny yourself access to the baby for sure. All right. So first thing, when we don't know how to deal with something, we don't have to try and figure it out. We can just go to God with it. You know what I struggle with sometimes, guys, is that, we say things like give it to God, right? Because we're trying to figure out like, how do I get over the past or how do I forgive? How do I co-parent with this person? How do I, right? And we're waiting for like these crystal clear answers on stuff. But then we also have like these really common sayings that we say, like, put it in God's hands, turn it over to God, right? And then I have people who say they did that. Like, Lisa, I decided to give it to God. And I'm like, well, why are you still stressed? Like, you wouldn't be stressed if you really gave it to God. So anytime you can't figure out how to overcome or get through a difficult situation in your life, literally releasing it and then allowing God to give you favor is how you do it. But that's hard for us because we want to do something, right? And so releasing it means like literally making a decision that God, I'm going to let you take the next step instead of me keep on trying to put my hands on it and figure it out. But when you do that, you have to literally, the moment an intrusive thought tries to come in and tries to take over and send you back down that rabbit hole, you got to evict it. Like you have to truly give it over. You have to truly surrender. Like you got to get on your hands and knees and get it over. And here's the thing about it. You typically don't do that one time. You typically have to give it to God every day because it's not like a switch. It's not like, okay, God, you take this and then all of a sudden, peace, right? It can be that way. But if you don't have a habit of letting him handle it, then you're going to have to surrender it every day. You're going to have to get on your hands and knees and say, less of me and more of you. Like you're going to have to be intentional. Like sometimes we think surrender is a one-time deal. Surrender is typically a daily deal. It's an hourly deal. Like I refuse the moment it tries to seep into your thoughts, the moment it tries to take over the rest of your day, the moment it tries to keep you up at night, I got to surrender it again and again and again and again until you finally decide to trust God enough to be still. Because sometimes we say we surrender, but then let me do something. Let me check on something. Let me look up something. Let me see the status of something. That's not surrender. You still got your hands on it. So it's less of me and more of you, God. It's the prayer. I don't know how to deal with this. I got this 2-year-old baby. I'm not sure what to say to this man so I can get over him. I don't know how to get over my past. So I'm going to let you take it and surrender it every time it comes up again and again and again until you finally learn how to give it up. I remember I was doing this plan in the Bible app and it was about money, right? And it was the devotional for that day. And forgive me, y'all, I don't remember the name of the plan. But the devotional that day, it's still my favorite. I love it. The devotional was telling a story about money and having a lack mindset. And this person was kind of just telling the story about how they had like given their marriage over to God and given their career over to God and started trusting God with all those things. But they were like, but it seems like I got baptized and I never baptized my wallet. So that's the thing I'm holding on to. Like I'm afraid to tithe, for example, and give God his portion because I don't really trust him to press it down and make it run over, right? Like I'm willing to give God some things, but other things I hold on to because I don't trust that it's going to be cared for and protected and things are going to be taken care of. So I'm still trying to stay in control. So what part of you have you not baptized? For this person, it was their wallet. They baptized everything for their wallet. Have you not baptized your relationship? Have you not allowed God to baptize your career? Have you not allowed God to baptize your healing? Like what part are you still trying to control? Sometimes you got to surrender it every day. It's not just saying it one time, I release it. And then it really don't get released that easily. Y'all know how we are, right? We want this feeling of certainty and safety. And faith is the opposite of that. It's driving in the rain. Your visibility is low. Just know when you surrender, your visibility is low. Just know when you take a step out on faith, your visibility is low. Just know when you hand it over to God, your visibility is going to be low. You have to be okay with low visibility. You're not going to be able to see how it's going to work out. You're not going to be able to predict how they're going to respond when you say what you need to say. You're not going to be able to predict how they're going to respond when you make a counter proposal to the job offer they gave you. Your visibility is going to be low. But what you need to know is that I am going to be demanding about what I need to have peace. And I'm going to do it willingly with low visibility. Does that make sense? So yes, absolutely. Somebody said surrender requires that we abide in God and allow him to abide in us. Yes, but that's hard for people. Like that, a real surrender. Like, let me tell y'all something right now. Like, I did not plan to live in Princeton, New Jersey. Like last year, I was living in Houston. I didn't know I was about to go back to school. I'm like, God, how? How am I about to go back to school and continue to run my company full time and continue to take care of myself and all the things I do for my health because health is such a core value for me. And God, like, I got you. Be easy. Don't lose sleep. I got you. Go ahead. It's safe to reply to Princeton and tell them after you got your acceptance letter that you accept the acceptance. It's safe. Go ahead. He like, I'm gonna make room for you. Go ahead. I got you. I didn't visibility low. Faith high. Faith low, visibility high. That's how it works. So you either want high visibility because you're doing everything in your control, but your risk taking is going to be low, or you can have low visibility, right? And high faith. You choose. Okay, so TT Sweet says, how do you know where to start at if you have multiple areas that you need to work on? Okay, so TT, this is a prioritization question. Lisa, there's several areas in my life where I don't have peace. Where do I start? I want you to just imagine it's 10 buckets in front of you, TT. You got 10 buckets. All these buckets, your life is represented in 10 buckets, 10 buckets, 10 buckets. And ideally, the buckets are full of water and overflowing, but some of the buckets are low, right? They're not overflowing. They not so some buckets is low. TT, which bucket is the lowest? You got your health bucket, you got your money bucket, you got your fulfillment bucket, you got your relationship bucket, you got your family bucket, you got your health bucket, you got which bucket is the lowest, TT? Like several of them need some attention, right? You got this relationship you need to work on with your parents. You got this you need to work on your job. You got the starting a business. You got your purpose bucket. Which bucket, TT, is the lowest for you? Which is at risk of like being empty, TT, okay? Because multiple buckets need to be worked on, but which bucket is almost dry? Okay, you let me know. Simply Bono, I'm with you. Simply Bono said health first. Yes, but I don't know her. TT's health bucket might be overflowing. The health might be good. Like that's me. My health optimal. Health is good, but it might be some other buckets that are competing for some attention, right? So if your health bucket is low, I highly recommend starting with health first, 100%. But it might not be low. Okay. All right, TT, we got some answers. So TT said, I love saying TT. TT said, nah, it ain't overflowing, but I think my parental is worse off. Okay, TT, TT, that's where our energy goes first. Now, here's the cheat code to this, though. Like when you have multiple buckets that need some attention, okay? So your parenting bucket is the one that's the lowest. Okay. You have to be okay. Listen to this closely, TT, because this is kind of hard for people. It's hard for me too. Okay. You have to be okay with allowing the other buckets that are already low to get slightly lower while you fill up this one. Eek. Right? Because sometimes the challenge up until this point is we keep trying to make sure we pour a little bit in every bucket as soon as we can. But right now, I want you to put your energy and your resources into that bucket, TT. Okay? Like it's okay. It's safe. You're going to have to trust. You're going to have to trust that it's safe to fill this bucket right now and let a majority of my energy go there. And if I have a little left over, I pour into the others. Let me give you an analogy, TT. I don't know if you know Dave Ramsey's method for getting out of debt, but does he teach the snowball method? Where basically let's say you got a bunch of credit cards and they all need some attention. Like they all at risk of being closed or, completely past the limit, right? And you like, which credit card do I start with first, right? And Dave tells you start with the one where the interest is the highest because that's the one you losing the most on, right? And he's like, put all extra money, all extra funds towards that high interest credit card, the credit card with the highest interest. And you're going to have to be okay with paying the minimal balance on the other credit cards. That's what we're dealing with here, TT. Okay. Whatever bucket is the lowest, put the majority of the energy and your resources and your overflow into your parenting bucket and be okay with doing the minimum in the other buckets. We're going to use the Dave Ramsey method, the snowball method for optimizing your life, okay? Anytime you got all these buckets lined up, you're going to have to make a decision which one needs to take priority. And that's going to be the one that's the lowest, right? That's running out of water the fastest. If it's for you, your parenting, be okay with the other buckets being minimal and being low while you work on that one, okay? TT, you're welcome. You're so welcome. TT said thank you, y'all. Until then, bye guys. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Radical Obedience Podcast. If today's conversation resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who may need a little more peace, clarity, and courage in their life. And if you're ready to discover what's really driving your chronic stress and overwhelm, and what's required to make your obedience more radical, visit lisaangelsmith.com/radical obedience, or just click the link in the show notes to take our radical obedience assessment. Until next time, remember, the goal isn't to control everything. The goal is to surrender completely trust deeply, and obey boldly. I'll see you in the next episode.